Welcome to the Fast Mode podcast series. I'm Tara Neil, and with me today is Benjamin Lorenz, Industry Solutions Principal, Telco and Media at MongoDB. Headquartered in New York, MongoDB aims to empower innovators to create, transform, and disrupt industries by unleashing the power of software and data. Built by developers for developers, its developer data platform is a database with an integrated set of related services that allow development teams to address the growing requirements for today's wide variety of modern applications, all in a unified and consistent user experience. MongoDB has tens of thousands of customers in over 100 countries. The MongoDB database platform has been downloaded hundreds of millions of times since 2007, and there have been millions of builders trained through MongoDB University courses. Benjamin joins us as part of our exclusive editorial segment on GenAI for network management. Welcome, Benjamin. Great to have you on today's episode.
Hello. Thank you for having me in this podcast.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's begin. We are, keen to learn a lot more about AI and GenAI. Let's start with GenAI. Okay, how can GenAI be used in network management? I know you're from the telecoms and media vertical, so you're probably the right person, to speak about this. And can you also share some use cases, on how GenAI can enhance operational efficiency and service assurance?
Yes, absolutely. So in fact, GenAI, everybody talks about it. All the telcos, they are looking at ways how they can leverage the value of GenAI for their business. And in particular on the OSS side, so on the telecommunications network side, there's a lot of areas where GenAI helps telcos and where we are helping with our data management platform, MongoDB, to organize data. You can think of it like, okay, network consists of millions of routers, hardware devices, software, everything interrelated with each other. And so the question is, how can you plan for the best service? So when it comes to expanding the network, but at the same time also, how can you make sure that the system is resilient at the same time and you overcome system failures, or even better, you find them, the risk for that before it happens. And this all comes down to a big data problem where you need to have the 360 views of all the data in the network, from the sensors, from the hardware, from the software, to have it in one single place so that you can work with AI on top of it.
When we look at network management per se, right, what kind of outcomes can we expect to see now that we have these AI and GenAI tools?
Yeah, and so there is one example. We have LG U+, one large telco that is using exactly this approach to organize the network. They built something called a single view application, or with the help of an ODL. That's called an operational data layer, which is a design paradigm where you decouple the producers from the consumers. Consumers in our case would be AI applications that want to derive intelligence out of network data. And the producers would be all those systems that might be lacking resiliency, that are stored in silos, or storing the data in silos, and then having an intermediary, which is MongoDB, to store all the data first into that store, to, from that point, build APIs and build access points to leverage context for the generic LLMs, generic AI components to do their job. And so the outcome of this is, in the case of LG U+, that they were building a developer platform, a cloud management platform that was helping them to reduce the risk of deploying applications in the cloud. So optimizing security on one end, and taking into account multiple, hundreds or even thousands of data points from the cloud providers about network operations in one single place to work from there. And so this was in the end a reduce risk approach that they were driving, and a highly successful one.
Wow, sounds amazing. So I was thinking, like, apart from management of networks in terms of maybe performance, and also we also touched a bit on the service assurance side, how does it also help in security? Perhaps in areas like fraud detection and threat detection.
Yes. Fraud detection and fraud prevention in the first place is a big topic for all the telcos I speak with. And it is very complex. When you think of it, there are so many dimensions where data comes into the system. People might enter a physical store. People might do a phone call to the call center. People just might be in an app or on the internet to order a SIM card, for instance, or they are asking for a SIM swap. Right? So this is the most prominent fraud that we have in telco, SIM swap fraud. And so ultimately what you want to assess as a telco operator is the risk that is attached to that call. Can I trust this person? What is the data environment around that person speaking with me? Is there a history of purchase? Is there a channel that these people have been using before? How many SIM cards they have got already? So, and even much more of those dimensions to put into consideration for then machine learning algorithms to do their job on learning what is normal operations, what is non-fraudulent activity, and what is low risk or even high risk activity. AT&T, I give you an example from the US. AT&T is doing this with MongoDB since years. They have been even spinning off a subsidiary called H2O. They built a feature store that can process several thousand dimensions of data to do exact thing what I just mentioned, to building machine learning algorithms on assessing the risk. And what AT&T didn't want to do is to do a penalty on all the customers that enter the store, to have them treated in the same way. I need your personal ID. I need to know where you live. I need to know a lot of stuff just to buy you or to sell you a SIM card. But they wanted to do this in a way where you assess the risk first, and the customers that you trust, they get easy access to services. And the people that are medium risk, you would ask for a little bit more. And for those people where you assess high risk, you want to better not do business at all. And AT&T got into the position with MongoDB to actually build such a system, which again is a big data problem, to work with terabytes, sometimes even petabytes of data, to ingest and digest into this data to understand the situation.
Wow. So, we talked about how AI, helps, for you guys to look into possible effects of, threat on the network and so forth. That's really interesting. So, can we know how MongoDB fits into the entire AI ecosystem? Like, there are a lot of workflows that are involved, right, in applying AI to the data. So, how does MongoDB come in? How do your solutions come in this space?
Yeah. There is today several approaches that you could go with as a telco company. You could continue using your existing legacy tools, which in the database space would be the traditional relational databases. And at the same time, you could go with another approach to look at those new niche databases that are taking care of the vectorization of data, called vector databases, to just do that job at one single point of time. Our value proposition is to make developers' life easier. And how to do this? By providing a data platform that actually combines both sides of the spectrum. First, to have a dedicated vector store capability within MongoDB. So you can vectorize data, you can build an index on those vector data, and you can very fast do queries against those. And at the same time, we overcome limitations of the relational world, which is working with tables, lots of tables, and doing joins in between them, which is slowing down operations, and most significantly also it hurts developer productivity because it's simply spoken a very complex task to do. And in MongoDB, we store data in a hierarchy, in a JSON data hierarchy, storing all the data together that needs to be accessed together. And this also means vector data. So all the customer application data, or when we talk about network optimization, all the network data and telemetrics, we store at the same document like the vectors and the vectorization of it, to then have super fast access to the data and easy means to develop the applications overall. And that's our value proposition to the market. Use MongoDB and be faster, building great new applications that leverage the power of GenAI.
Brilliant. While we're on the topic of MongoDB, can you tell us more about your AI application program?
Yes, 100%. We launched this program back in 2024 with the aim to help the large organizations to further understand and actually leverage the power of GenAI. There is still a big skill gap and knowledge gap around the potential and how to apply it. So what we have done in that program is the following. We have developed reference architectures as the first thing. So what is the best practices, how to build a GenAI architecture with MongoDB to work with data in the easiest way. Then what we have done is to build frameworks and do cooperations and partnerships with large frameworks like LangChain, for instance, to boost developer productivity by having the best tools in the market to build those applications. This also includes partnership with the cloud providers, the big three, and with all the large LLMs that you want to use for your architecture. And we are LLM agnostic, so you can use any of those. And last but not least, we support with professional services and also with support once application is live, so that you really get a fast bootstrap into your applications.
So looking at some of the aspects of data and, before data is being used into the AI engine and Gen AI engines, there's a lot of issues about data quality. Do you guys also have mechanisms to ensure that the data that makes it into the databases conforms to a certain level of quality? Maybe also help customers figure out if there's data poisoning going on and things like that?
Yeah. Very important element when you build a reliable LLM architecture and GenAI architecture, because there will be the risk of hallucinations, that the LLMs will not do a good job in providing you with answers if the input is not the right input. So how to overcome this is twofold. One is that you really need to have as complete data as possible. And this is most of the time the problem of the hallucinations, that once you want to build the context to build the answer upon, this context is incomplete, and this is where the LLMs will start to hallucinate. Building this 360 view with MongoDB that I outlined before and leveraging the operational data layer with MongoDB brings the telcos into position that they have complete data to overcome this. Second thing is data security. Just to quickly touch on this, which is a super important aspect of this topic as well, is that you want to make sure that the data that you store is safely stored. Because there might be a lot of private data, right? Proprietary data of the telcos. You don't want to have this exposed to some third party. And this is where MongoDB is certified with all the important certifications like ISO, HIPAA, you name it, to ensure that you can build those applications in a very reliable way and trusted way.
Okay. I think we have covered a lot of great topics today. And then, there's one last thing, which is the transitioning that we see from AI to Gen AI, which means that telcos especially have to invest a lot more into their database systems. Is that true? And if yes, what are the kind of investments that they should be doing?
I think it's first really a matter of realizing the potential and the use cases, what they can do with GenAI on top of AI. lots of what we have talked here about, like fraud detection, involves classical AI, where you want to build those traditional models like random forest and stuff to do the job of ingesting into data. But then on top of it, to have the natural language aspect of it, that you can ask questions to your network. Yeah, think of this. That's a complete new level of how to operate something, not looking at Excel
Exactly.
sheets and dashboards, but you have a chatbot and you talk with the network. Hi, network, how is it going in the London area? And the network would
Exactly.
give you back answers. And that's, I think, where you want to rethink how you do operations on the one side, but then also how to leverage this for customer care on the other side. Because once you have this full 360 view of the data of your customers and of the network, of course, what you can do as well is to build new loyalty programs, right? To have people consume more and stay longer. You can build more promotions and better targeted promotions. So it blends into marketing of telcos as well. And this list goes on and on. So it's really the creativity that you can start to bring to the table once you have fully understood and embraced the potential of it. And I think this is where the telcos at the moment need to get further up to speed to just learn the art of the possible.
Awesome. I think, it's been a great conversation today, and we are at the end of our podcast session. So thank you, Benjamin, for joining us today and for sharing all the insights, especially on what MongoDB is doing in this space.
Thank you so much.
And to everyone tuning in, thank you guys for listening. If you want to learn more, visit www.mongodb.com and follow us for more updates and insights as we continue to uncover the latest in technology and telecommunications. See you in our next session. Bye-bye.